Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. Bank of America on CBDCs and stablecoins, IBM too, XRP Healthcare. But wait for this. Brad Garlinghouse talking at Davos. It's not just tomorrow, it's today. I got you something you want to see. The state of crypto and the Ripple case. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive content. Right now, $1.027 trillion market cap for crypto, and we're off by 0.4%. Good morning. Bitcoin right now, 21,200 plus. Ethereum, 1,500 plus. Tether market cap, 66.5 billion, they say. XRP, 39 cents. Let's get into this, ladies and gentlemen. Link to is where you can get incredible products like Ripple, Polysign, Uphold, Link to itself, Brex is new, and Rippling, and so many other incredible products. I'll just scroll it for you here. But I tell you, you can't mess around because look, fully subscribed, Ripple. How much longer before they tell us you can't get any more? Click the link below if you're accredited. If you're not accredited, click the link, find out what you need to do to get accredited, because pre-IPO opportunities like this will go away. That's the whole point, is at some point they have a public exit or some form of an exit, and you want to get in before that happens, this is the place to do it, link2.com. Click that link below. Check out my sponsor. Let's get into this right now. There's extensive precedent for requiring companies providing critical infrastructure to get special insurance. Why not require companies to back themselves with a market-based product, says the founder of Evertas, a crypto insurance provider. I'll tell you, look, I've been calling for this for years. I mean, whether it's FDIC or whether it's a third-party provider like Evertas described here, this is what really can bring an enormous amount of confidence to the space, is knowing I'm insured. And I don't want to be insured by the company itself. I want a third-party company that doesn't stand alone, or FDIC. There it is right there. And what comes with all of that is usually regulation, so watch out. I think this might be a good year to see some kind of clarity for stablecoin legislation, and I think that could really bring in the FDIC side and certainly third-party providers to go with it. We'll keep an eye on it. Venture capital firm Digital Currency Group, this is not good, ladies and gentlemen, has told shareholders it is halting its quarterly dividend payments until further notice as it attempts to preserve liquidity. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. But then we have this. On the other side of the world here, $9 billion European bank N26 will launch Bitcoin trading for millions of customers, according to Reuters. You know, I happen to believe, and I know I've caught a lot of trash for this, but you know what? I hope anybody holding Bitcoin, and from time to time I will myself. But I tell you, I feel that Bitcoin is ultimately a shiny distraction to keep retail consumers off of gold. That's my personal opinion there. But we'll see what the long term brings. I do see entities like BlackRock and the European Bank mentioned here opening up the doorway for retail customers to participate in this. And I say to myself, there's a cynical side I have that I tap into. Most of you probably can tune into that. But there's a cynical side of me that says, you know, essentially this, you know, is Bitcoin that shiny distraction while the new monetary system is being set up? And we're, of course, watching central banks buy and hoard gold at alarming rates. It tells me that something's coming. We just don't know exactly what, how bad, or when. However, Bank of America and now IBM, Narayanan, I believe it is, said that CBDCs are the future of money. Well, this shows huge promise. And again, this points towards some kind of a tipping point for clarity when you hear this kind of language coming from these kind of places like the Bank of America and IBM, right? said the CBDCs are the future, but issuers need to consider hybrid-like model. They are replacing current digital currency system in a way they are controlled. This is an excellent position where a combination of permissioned and permissionless is necessary. While many CBDC pilot projects are still in development phases, Narayanan said payments will eventually be made with CBDCs. But in the meantime, stable coins, which are a form of cryptocurrency pegged to real-world assets such as gold or the US dollar, are working as stopgaps until CBDCs are available in the market. Rob Massey, global tax leader, blockchain cryptocurrency at Deloitte, one of the big four consulting accounting firms of the world, echoed the comments that were mentioned by Narayanan here. Separate segment on First Mover. He said the ability to use programmable money with smart contracts can reduce friction and help large-scale enterprises elevate their level of transparency and real-time payment system. It's absolutely where we're going, said Massey, although he cautioned that not all CBDC stablecoins and smart contract protocols are created equal. I would agree with that, no doubt about it. And then obviously here, Bank of America, in the most recent research paper published Tuesday, that CBDCs and stablecoins are the next logical step in development of the monetary and monetary-related systems. Again, going back to what I said about Bitcoin for the masses. While the world financial system begins to really reset to a new monetary system, which I believe will be a multipolar asset-backed system, moving away from a debt-based system. That's just my thought on it. We'll keep an eye on it. But Bank of America, in the most recent published paper, said that CBDC stablecoins are the next logical step in the development of monetary-related systems. CBDCs do not change the definition of money, but will likely change how and when value is transferred over the next 15 years. Wanted to give yourself a little runway there, did you? Central bank digital currencies have the potential to revolutionize global financial systems and may be the most significant technology advancement in the history of money. Now, the collapse of Terra USD and the subsequent investigation of stablecoins in 2022 did not stop the widespread acceptance of CBDCs. The study also found CBDCs present certain dangers and might lead to increased competition for traditional bank deposits. It further warned that it may threaten national financial independence. Well, doesn't it all come back to that? Control, relevance, and power. That's what we're talking about. They also cite that it may be a decade away before it's ready. I beg to differ. But we'll see. And maybe the Band-Aid is stable coins in the meantime, right? That's what they're pointing to, right? However, let's take a look at this because things are blossoming when it comes to Web3. It's XRP Healthcare introduces its head of global strategy. I'm only going to give you the last piece of this because it's a very new entity, it appears. But XRP Healthcare intends to do this, simplifying and creating fast payment transactions between market participants and bringing transparency by way of tracking pharmaceuticals from their inception to customer, combating multi-billion-dollar counterfeit medicine industry with an interface for interactive engagement between customers and healthcare service providers via mobile and web app. Well, I want to know more about that. That's for sure. If you guys have any more information, please share it with me. And right here is the one and only Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple. Shout out to you, Brad. Who thinks the SEC lawsuit will be resolved in the first half of this year? Optimistic this will certainly be resolved in 2023 and maybe the first half. I feel very good about where we are relative to the law and facts. This entire conversation is fantastic. I'm going to let it play, and then we got some thoughts. And I'm also going to give you the details on where he will be speaking tomorrow. So take a listen to this. Here we go.
Indicative of, to some degree, a crypto winter that, as you just suggested, has changed in tone from how the last Davos, in terms of just, there was a lot of hype, a lot of noise around all things crypto at the last Davos. And I think seeing the change, and I actually think it's a really healthy change, that there's more focus on utility Are these technologies that are solving real problems? And I think to your question, I think to the extent there are companies solving real problems for real customers and they're going to continue to grow regardless of the environment. Is there continued contagion? I think we're obviously continuing to hear noise about what's going on with DCG and Gemini. Hard to know. It sounds like that could work out in a constructive way. I think all of this has not been great for crypto at large. But again, if you just focus on companies that are solving real problems, certainly Ripple had a record 2022. We'd rather see crypto do well at large, but we had a great year, signed up more and more customers and more volume going through our payment rails.
And in terms of your outlook for 2023, we've seen a bit of a bump for Bitcoin in the crypto markets. Are you expecting that to continue, or is this just a little bit of false hope?
Well, I've tried to stay out of the short-term price prediction on all things Bitcoin, or crypto in general. I'm long-term very bullish because I think these are technologies that can solve real problems at scale. And I think when you have kind of new emerging technologies, not dissimilar than, frankly, the internet and kind of the dot-com bubble, sometimes the hype gets ahead of the reality. That comes into balance over time. But we shouldn't forget, really not that long ago, 21 years, Amazon during the dot-com bubble almost went out of business. Mm-hmm. So the fact that you're seeing some changes in the crypto world, I think, can be healthy for the long-term health of the industry.
And yet FTX appears to be a very high-profile case of fraud. There are serious regulatory and auditing gaps that went on with that institution. And yet at the same time, what I'm reading is so many people have been critical of SBF for having this close relationship with the regulators, the fact that he visited Gary Gensler so many times. So where do you draw the line? We need to strengthen regulation and oversight in this industry, but how close should the relationship be between your peer group and the U.S. regulators who are looking at these institutions?
First of all, I think you're exactly right. We talk about this as a crypto problem, but really this is just fraud. And I think in some ways not that dissimilar than Bernie Madoff. And when Bernie Madoff occurred, we didn't totally restructure how we thought about oversight and regulation of hedge funds. Mm-hmm. We realized that, hey, clearly in that case also the SEC had overlooked, and if people had reported to the SEC, they should be looking into Bernie Madoff. So I know that the SEC had met a bunch of times with SBF. I don't know the specifics of what types of oversight they were applying. I do think this is a fraud. I don't view this as a crypto problem at large. But to your point, I think regulatory clarity globally is important. And we're seeing a lot of countries. Here we are in Davos, and Switzerland's clearly one of the countries leading in providing regulatory clarity in early stage. You have the UAE leaning in, the UK, Japan, Singapore. The U.S. is notably absent from that list. And I think in some ways the regulators in the U.S. have added confusion to the crypto marketplace.
And let's talk about those regulators in the U.S., the SEC, Brad. Let's get a check-in on what's going on with that lawsuit with the SEC and Ripple. Are you nearing an end potentially? Are you planning to settle with the SEC?
Well, we have always said that we would love to settle, but it requires one very, very, very important thing, and that is that on a go-forward basis, it's clear that XRP is not a security. The SEC and Gary Gensler has very outwardly said he views almost all crypto as a security, and so that leaves very little space in a Venn diagram for settlement. The case is now fully briefed in front of the judge, and judges take however long the judges will take. We're optimistic that this will certainly be resolved in 2023 and maybe the first half. So we'll see how it plays out from here. But I feel very good about where we are relative to the law and the facts.
So are you going to wait for the judge to come out with a decision on this one?
I'm very optimistic, and I think absent some significant change in posture from the SEC, I can't imagine that we won't have resolution from the judge. I also will point out, and I've certainly something I've heard here in Davos repeatedly, is how important this is, not just to how Ripple it goes forward, but also really the whole crypto industry in the United States. And I keep reminding people that outside the United States, crypto is still thriving, Ripple is still thriving, and we should make sure we're continuing to engage non-U.S. regulators as well.
It's also difficult to say it's thriving when so many people have lost a lot of money speculating. And the key word here is speculating on the price of Bitcoin and various other cryptocurrencies. I remember back at the peak, there was a lot of talk about institutions getting involved. Given what we've seen, given the price action, given the drawdowns, given the numerous amounts of fraud cases that have gone on in the space, doesn't it feel like the hurdle is extremely high, if not impossible now, to get institutions involved? If you were sitting on a board of a pension fund, how could you justify to them that you're going to get involved in cryptocurrencies?
Well, I think it depends upon how we're defining institutional involvement. When I think about institutional involvement with Ripple, I'm thinking about financial institutions, banks, payment providers who are using our technologies to solve a cross-border payments problem. They've continued to engage, we've continued to grow, and so I feel good about that. But look, I think anytime you have this kind of change, people take a moment. I also think, and I pointed out in one of the sessions I was in at Davos here yesterday, is, we talk about, obviously, crypto is down 65%. Tesla is down 65%. Facebook is down about 65%. No one's saying, hey, we shouldn't invest in Tesla or Facebook. So I think we have to, clearly, I would much rather not have the volatility we've seen in crypto in 2022, but I think we also have to look at that in concert of other kind of growth investment areas. And again, to your point, most of crypto has been speculation. If it's just speculation, I don't think that's long-term sustainable. We need to focus on utility and make sure we're solving problems for customers.
Wow. I got to tell you, I don't know if anybody could be more poised with everything that is pointed at him in this case at this moment, and couldn't say it any better, right? Shout out to Brad Garlinghouse for that incredible interview, and really poised on use case, not just speculation. Speculation is not sustainable. Doesn't mean that it's not good, right? But it's not sustainable on its own. You got to have real use case application. And I believe that's exactly what Ripple has been doing, is building the market infrastructure in the financial system for exactly that. I also happen to believe PolySign is also that, because they are positioned to tokenize the entire capital markets and do custody for them as well as a settlement. So pretty remarkable conversation and words and comments from Brad Garlinghouse, and expecting a resolution first half of this year. And just for everybody who doesn't know, he will be speaking on the panel of the World Economic Forum tomorrow. And just to let you know, it will be right here, and it is at 3 p.m. CET time. We will do everything to get what we can from him on his time there. Remember, he will be sitting on stage with central banker from the Netherlands as well. So, it just tells you the level of respect and understanding that the financial world has, and the world leaders have, about Ripple's true power. And I believe XRP as well. Not financial advice from me or anyone else, just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.